observe those buses and you'll notice right away, whoa, these bus services were designed by a city that really values bus service. And you feel the difference, it's all over everything. And so then you get on it and you notice the incredible diversity of people, right? And the economic diversity. We are succeeding when a millionaire is comfortable sitting next to the guy who washes dishes in the Smith restaurant. That's what transit does. When it succeeds.
Okay, Jarrett, you've had an opportunity to spend a little bit of time here in Greensboro and the Triad and to hear some folks talk about or learn about transit today. What would be your hopes for our region in terms of building a better transit system?
Well, I think you have to have a conversation both in the three main cities and also regionally. It's two different conversations. Each of the cities needs to have a chance to think about what its priorities are. And there's a different conversation about how to tie the cities together across the region and to adjacent areas like the Triangle, like Durham and Chapel Hill. I think the important thing to remember is that as your city grows, you will need more transit. That always happens as a city grows. And if your city grows denser, if you want to have a larger and denser downtown or more development around the university or whatever, that will also always need more transit. It won't really work well if everyone has to drive to those places.
During the first half of the workshop, participants learned some basic transit planning terms, then worked in groups to design a transit system for a fictitious city. The main takeaway for the morning: high frequency equals high ridership, and linear, straight routes serve a community with more equity than routes that wiggle around the community.
Also, a high frequency radial network. It's just that instead of having lots of lines coming into downtown, we're just coming into downtown from four directions, right? So
my name is Nicole Lindahl, and I'm a student at UNCG in the Masters in Public Affairs program. And I am also here as a volunteer with Bicycling in Greensboro. Great. Or big. And I am a bike rider. I do not own a car, so I take a personal interest in this subject.
So after hearing today's session, what is your vision for Greensboro as a choice rider and bike rider?
I think that we have put a lot of effort into trying to diversify the people that ride our buses and to increase the population as a whole that ride our buses. And I think we're going about that completely wrong after having been to this course today. I think that we could actually remap our entire thing, just completely work it so that with a different frame of mind. I think that putting that money and time into doing that could be very productive.
Frequency versus coverage. If ridership is your goal, high frequency in key corridors outperforms providing limited service all over the city. It's a trade-off that has to be understood and to be dealt with. Corridors worthy of high frequency have density both in people and jobs, walkability, linearity, and continuity.
Okay, so tell me your name and what organization you're with or who you're here representing.
My name is Sel. I am representing the Greensboro Housing Coalition, and I'm also an intern as well for the Greensboro Housing Coalition. And what I've learned through this training is how important transportation is for everybody. You know, not just for the people who are in need of it, but also people in the area and the level of density in one area and how that can affect other people in other parts of your city. And so I've learned a lot and I've taken away so much, and it's so much more than just transportation. It is also the rights for the people in the community. And so I'm really excited to tell this more to other people and be part of it as I do my work.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, how would we do that? How would we got 15. just extends further as you So if you did this, then, or maybe had a Lawndale bus too. This is actually more than Lawndale.
Just not using the bus depot, just using.
Daniel, your transportation planner with City of Greensboro, what did you think of the workshop today?
It was a great workshop. It was a lot of fun. I learned a lot about transit planning that I didn't really know about or think about much before. I think it reoriented my idea or feeling about transit and transit planning. I think it makes me feel more hopeful that we can change our transit planning or system into one that works for more people, even though it may not go out as far as the current system does. It can work for more people and work for creating transit-oriented developments.
All the time now, as low-income folks are coming in saying, you can't raise the fare. Well, if we don't raise the fare, the service is going to keep deteriorating. Are you sure that deteriorating service is good for you? Well, it's a hard argument. So we have to keep steering people back to the fact that transit will succeed because of the diversity of purposes for which it's useful, the diversity of trips for which it's useful. So I want you to come out of this with that notion. Many of you started this morning from a completely understandable place, which is we started thinking about, low-income people going shopping, or we started thinking about the university. We started thinking about some interest group, and then we tried to work our way out from that. And that started you off in a problematic direction because you have to actually wrap your head around all of the different patterns of movement that are intense enough to generate transit demand. And then network design is how you figure and then you start to recognize the network patterns that are universally useful. So that those high frequency grids, right? That high frequency grid that Table 1 drew this morning. It does not squiggle in response to anybody's particular needs. It keeps going straight. And it's precisely because it keeps going straight that it is so effective. It is precisely because it's not squiggling over here to the senior center, or being a separate little shuttle just for the university or whatever. It's because it's just one simple pattern going back and forth. That's what makes it so incredibly useful to so many different people making different kinds of trips. And if you've ever ridden the New York City subway.
Get him talking.
So tell me your name and what organization you're with or who you're here representing.
My name is John Pastorell. I am a master's student in the geography department. I'm currently studying applied geography, but concentration in urban planning and economic development. I took a planning transportation course and a community development course as well, and that's how it got to me about how land use planning and transportation planning with community development really need to work together and have shared resources for the community. So